Uprooted Theatrical Studios presents.
It's 10 Tips Tuesday.
What's up, everyone? My name is Brendan Bald. I'm an actor here in Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm going to tell you 10 tips for finding your passion. Just a quick snapshot of who I am and what I'm about. I'm originally from Annapolis, Maryland, and I'm an attorney turned actor. Yeah, you heard that right. Attorney turned actor. I was actually an attorney. I went to law school, 3 years, took the bar exam, practiced law, and it wasn't until I was around 27 years old that I took the leap to actually do what I wanted to do in life, and that was be an actor and work in film and entertainment. So, I'm going to tell you 10 tips for following and finding your passion. Tip number 1, don't care what people think. This may be the most important tip of all. Do not care what other people think. Don't compare yourself to others. I know it's hard in a world of social media. Comparison is easy. Do not let other people's opinions of you affect your own decision making. Trust your own inner voice over everyone else's. Trust me, this is a huge tip. Definitely take it to heart. Tip number 2. Sorry, I keep looking down because that's where my little notes are. So we'll say, tip number 2, be selfish. Sounds a little weird, right? Most people don't tell you to be selfish, but when it comes to finding your passion and following your passions in life, be selfish. Take time for yourself. Focus on yourself. Figure out what makes you tick, what motivates you in life. Once you figure that out, you'll be one step closer to finding what you actually want to do in life. So many times in life, and I know me personally and a lot of other people, they place their happiness on other people. What I mean by that is you focus all of your attention on others, whether that's a significant other, whether that's a parent, whether that's a friend, whether that's your job. A lot of times it's your job. And if those things are going great, you tie your happiness to that. If they aren't going great, you tie your depression to that as well. You rise and you fall with that ship. Focus on yourself. You can't make other people happy until you've made yourself happy, until you're your whole, complete person. Tip number 3, stay away from the golden handcuffs. Now, what I mean by this is, as you live and work and your income raises, most people raise their standard of living coinciding with their income. I don't recommend doing that. If you consistently raise your standard of living, and sometimes even raise your standard of living to it's above your means, then you'll get what I like to call the golden handcuffs. You get a big mortgage. You get a big car payment. Whatever it is that you're raising your standard of living to, don't do that. Because once you get tied in with a long lease, expensive mortgage, car payment, it's very tough to break it. It'll be harder for you to detach yourself from that life and go after what you actually want to. So if you keep your standard of living low, or at least below your means, or if you're making a lot of money, keep your standard of living lower than what it is, then it'll be easier for you to depart if you want to do something else in life. That was tip number 3. Tip number 4, and I say this all the time, make rough draft moves. You don't need to have everything figured out before you make a move in life, not at all. You just need to follow your gut and go for it. It's taking that first step that's the hardest. It doesn't need to be perfect. You could take that first step, realize it's a wrong step. That's okay, it doesn't matter. You just need to take the step to begin with. That's why they're called rough draft. It's not your final draft. You don't need to wait for the perfect move, because if you try and wait for the perfect move, you'll never make that move. Tip number 5, and I touched on this in the others that I said, but follow your gut. This is important. So many people, myself included, I always thought with my head, which sounds right, but when you think with your head, you think practically. At least I did. What should I be doing? What's going to make me the most money? What will my friends and parents and colleagues and Instagram followers and LinkedIn connections want me to do? What would impress them? That's what happens when you think with your head. So you start making decisions based off of that. I always say follow your gut instead. There's some sort of lever or compass in your body, I just call it your gut, that tells you whether or not you should be doing things. Instincts is what you call it in acting. Your impulses is what they also call it in acting. You follow that because that will lead you to what you actually want to do. I remember working jobs and on paper they looked great. I was in conversations with people and I sounded good. But deep down, I knew that I just wanted to run away from that. I did not want to do that. I wanted to get out, get out, get out, get out. Eventually got to a point where I had to follow my gut. All right, tip number 6, enjoy the journey. This is cliche, I know, but you'll hear it a lot and it is true. If you tie yourself to some goal or some destination, you're setting yourself up for some misery, my friends. If you're passionate about something, you'll enjoy doing it, not necessarily gaining the rewards from that endeavor. For instance, in the acting world, don't tie yourself to, oh, I need to get that big role. I need to get that role on a Netflix show, on a HBO show. I really need to get a series regular. Forget these co-stars and guest stars and short films and student films. I need to be a principal cast member in a Hollywood production. If you tie yourself to that, you just won't be happy. You just won't be setting yourself up to enjoy life. But if you actually enjoy the grind, enjoy the struggle, enjoy finding work, getting work, doing smaller films, putting yourself into a role, the journey, the struggle, then I think you'll find joy and you'll find happiness. Tip number 7. I love this one. I love this one. You're never stuck. You are never stuck. It doesn't matter how long you've studied something. It doesn't matter how long you've worked in a field. It doesn't matter how long you've been with the same company. You can always do something differently. You can always make moves. You can always make moves. I don't care if you've got a mortgage payment. I don't care if you've got a big car payment. Sell it. And I know everyone's situation is differently. Some people have children, families they need to take care of, so they can't do these big drastic steps and changes in life like I did and some other people I know did. You kind of got to take baby steps just so you have your family taken care of, but you're never fully stuck. And if you go in with the mentality that you are stuck, you're not getting unstuck, my friends. Get some WD-40, spray it over your life, and wiggle on out of there, and you can do what you want to do. You can follow your passions. Tip number 8. Tip number 8. It doesn't matter where you start. It does not matter where you start. You just got to start somewhere. Anywhere. Anywhere. If you're thinking about being an actor, you've always wanted to act, take a class. Get headshots. Just one small step. It doesn't matter. Once you take one small step, you'll end up taking another, and then another, and then another. And it doesn't matter what those first couple steps are, just take them. Just take them. Tip number 9. And I love this, and I'm kind of stealing it from Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey had this big commencement speech where he said, if you can fail at doing something you don't love, then you might as well take a chance at doing something that you do, or something like that. But that's the gist of it. There's no guarantees in life. What you may think is the practical route for you could turn out ugly. You could be unsuccessful. You can fail at anything in life, so might as well go for what you actually want to do. Another cliche phrase, shoot for the moon, kid. Because even if you miss, you land amongst the stars. But it's true. It's true. Silly, but true. Okay. The 10th and final tip of this video is detach yourself from society's timelines. Detach yourself. Forget about it. Society and your friends and family may be telling you need to be married by this age. You need to be making X amount of dollars before you turn 30. You need to have the house by you're 25. You need to have the BMW by the time you're 35. You need this amount in your 401k before you're 40 or else life's over. Forget about that. There is no one timeline. Everyone is on their own timeline. It doesn't matter how long it takes you to do something. It doesn't matter at all. There's no one way to do it. Doesn't matter. You could be any age. You could be 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. It really doesn't matter. You can change your life for the better at any point. You can take the steps to do what you want to do in life at any point. You can follow your passions at any age. It doesn't matter. What's important is that you just go for it. You do it. And if you don't know what your passions are, and a lot of people don't, that's okay. I have a lot of friends who don't. I recommend just trying things, seeing what you like. What did you like doing when you were a kid? What do you do in your spare time? Once you nail those down, then explore them. Is there something in that field that maybe you'd like to do? Maybe you'd like to try doing? Just try shit. That's all I got to say. Just try shit. And then you'll find your passions at some point. It could take a long time. You could never find it. Point is, you gotta try. You gotta try. That's all she wrote. Those are my 10 tips for finding and following your passion, especially after you've already had a career. Once again, my name's Brendan Bald. I'm an actor here in Nashville, Tennessee. Peace.